On the African scene, Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traoré recently criticized French media during a visit to Moscow, accusing them of brainwashing African people. The statement reflects the growing tensions between Burkina Faso and France, particularly regarding media representation and influence.
Understand their history and wake up. So that's our fight as well. My biggest regret is having spent a good part of my youth listening to radio stations like RFI and France 24. I've been in countries where those radio stations were shut down. But we would use apps to record their news broadcasts so we could listen. But at some point, something clicked. I started to realize that they were conditioning our minds to accept what they wanted. It's their narrative that they want us to learn. And since then, I've started to see things for what they are. And I understood that what they're doing is very dangerous. And today, more than ever, I realize that they have conditioned the minds, especially of Africans. So you can play a big role in awakening the consciousness of young people so that people understand how the world works and don't let themselves be led astray by those people. When we watch the parade of the machines that won the war, that is the T-34s up to the modern vehicles, it shows us the technological evolution of the Russian army. And it inspires us as well to get to work so that we can develop in the same direction. Relations are going very well. And I can say that for the past 2 years now, things have started off very well. And we are working on deepening the areas of defense and security, but also education and later on the commercial sector and other aspects. So we have staggered the different areas so that we can exchange a lot and share many experiences, because we also have a lot to learn from Russia in the field of education, especially in the sciences. Now, it must be said that up to today, gold is the main export product in Burkina Faso. But we have set agriculture in motion, first for self-sufficiency, but also for foreign trade and export. The terrorists are reinforced by many foreign fighters who come from elsewhere, who are not, in fact. If I take the case of Burkina Faso, there are many criminals in Burkina Faso, but they are not Burkinabe. There are also trainers who come from many countries to teach them a lot of techniques.
But what is their interest?
It's not really terrorism, it's imperialism. Their goal is to keep us in a state of permanent war, so that we cannot develop and so they can continue to plunder our resources. So they have every interest in bringing in specialists in mines to lay various types of mines and explosives experts. Today, the terrorists use drones to fight and everything. So these are professionals from certain countries who come to teach them all of this. All of this is to keep us in a state of insecurity. But we are aware of the situation. We adapt each time to their methods of operation, and we will continue the fight until we have recovered the entirety of the Sahel. So all the countries that are fighting today for their more economic independence, we are trying to collaborate better with these countries.
That video, courtesy of Fox Local, shows Traoré's comment suggesting he believes French media are manipulating public opinion in Africa, potentially shaping narratives that don't favor Burkina Faso's interest or similar anti-imperialist movements on the continent of Africa. Now, the sentiment resonates with some Africans who feel that Western media outlets often present biased or incomplete views of African issues to portray their narrative. Traoré's accusation, French media is accused of brainwashing African people, implying a deliberate attempt to manipulate public opinion. Now, the context of the tensions show that Burkina Faso has been experiencing strained relations with France, partly due to its efforts to distance itself from French influence and align more closely with other global powers like Russia. We see the role of media in shaping public perception is significant, and Traoré's statement highlights the importance of diverse and independent media voices in Africa. Well, it is worth noting that some media outlets like Agence France Presse, the AFP, have been accused of serving as mouthpieces for French government interests, given that they receive substantial funding from the French government. This perceived lack of neutrality can fuel skepticism. It fuels skepticism about their reporting on sensitive topics, including geopolitical shifts in Africa. He calls out the hypocrisy of Western powers, the exploitation of black leaders to undermine African progress, and the destructive role of foreign troops on African soil. With clarity and conviction, Traoré's outline of his vision for a sovereign, united, and self-reliant Africa, driven by a strong military, industrial development, and a new generation of awakened African youth, only helps inspire other African nationalist leaders.